Let's get right into it. Number 7. Social survival mode. Honesty sounds noble until rent is due. From the time you're old enough to form sentences, you learn a very important rule. Truth is great, unless it causes problems. You don't tell your aunt her cooking tastes like seasoned regret. You don't tell your boss that his quick meeting is a slow psychological death. You definitely don't tell your partner that you're fine when you're actually conducting an internal TED Talk about their behavior. Because humans aren't built for pure truth. We're built for survival. Your brain's number one job isn't integrity, it's keeping you accepted. Thousands of years ago, being kicked out of the tribe meant you got eaten by something with more teeth than empathy, so your nervous system evolved to treat social rejection like a mild form of death. That's why criticism physically hurts. That's why awkward silence feels like falling down an elevator shaft. Enter strategic honesty. You learn to edit yourself, to round corners, to swap. That's a terrible idea with, interesting approach. Your prefrontal cortex, basically your internal PR manager, runs damage control before words even leave your mouth. Honesty becomes negotiable, not because you're evil, because you want to keep your job, your friends, your social oxygen. So truly honest people, the ones who say exactly what they think without filtering, they're rare because they're constantly risking social exile, and your brain hates exile more than it hates lying. In other words, honesty is brave, but your survival instincts are louder. And most of the time, survival wins. Number 6. The politeness illusion. Somewhere along the way, we decided that being nice and being honest were the same thing. They are not. Politeness is basically socially acceptable lying with good posture. When someone asks, "How are you?" they do not want the documentary. They want the trailer, a cheerful 3-second highlight reel. Good, busy, blessed. Not, existence feels vaguely unstable and I'm questioning my career. Society runs on tiny, friction-reducing lies. That looks great on you. No worries at all. I totally understand. These phrases are the social equivalent of WD-40. They keep interactions smooth, no sparks, no lawsuits. The problem? If you're deeply honest, you disrupt the machine. Imagine responding to everything with raw transparency. Do you like my new haircut? It's not symmetrical, but it reflects confidence. You'd technically be honest. You'd also be eating lunch alone. Your brain understands something crucial. Harmony often matters more than accuracy. Psychologists call this pro-social lying, bending the truth to protect someone's feelings or maintain group cohesion. Studies show people who tell small white lies are often perceived as more trustworthy and kind than brutally honest people. Yes, you read that correctly. A little dishonesty can increase your social value. So what happens? Over time, you get rewarded for softening truth, for cushioning blows, for choosing comfort over precision. Honesty becomes negotiable, flexible, situational. And because most people prefer emotional safety over uncomfortable reality, the person who tells the blunt truth starts looking like the villain, even when they're not wrong. Basically, honesty doesn't just compete with selfishness. It competes with being nice. And in a world that worships nice, truth sometimes gets politely escorted out the back door. Number 5. Self-deception factory. Here's the uncomfortable twist. Most people aren't lying to you. They're lying to themselves first. The human brain is not a truth machine. It's a story machine. And the main character of that story? You. Heroic. Rational. Definitely not the problem. Psychologists call this self-serving bias. When things go well, it's because of your talent. When things go badly, it's because the universe personally hates you. Convenient. Suspiciously convenient. But it gets deeper. Your brain literally edits memories to protect your identity. Every time you recall something, you slightly rewrite it. Over time, your past becomes less of a documentary and more of a director's cut starring you as misunderstood genius. This is why honest people are rare, because radical honesty requires seeing yourself clearly, and seeing yourself clearly is psychologically threatening. Imagine admitting, "I overreacted because I was insecure," or "I stayed in that relationship because I was afraid of being alone," or "I'm not actually as open-minded as I think I am." Your ego hears that and files an emergency complaint. So your mind smooths the edges, it reframes, it justifies, it whispers, "You had no choice. They deserved it. You were just tired." It feels like truth, but it's curated. Neuroscientists have found that when your beliefs are challenged, the brain's threat detection system activates, the same system that reacts to physical danger. So when someone confronts your flaws, your nervous system responds like you're being attacked by a tiger made of facts. No wonder honesty is rare. It requires you to override a brain that's constantly protecting your self-image like it's guarding a national treasure. Most people aren't trying to be dishonest. They're just defending the fictional autobiography playing in their heads. And honestly, it's a very convincing book. Number 4. Incentives greater than integrity. Imagine walking into a workplace meeting and announcing, "I disagree with this entire strategy and here's why it will fail." Bold, honest. Also, congratulations on updating your resume. The modern world does not reward honesty nearly as much as it rewards alignment. Promotions, popularity, and opportunities often go to the people who fit the narrative, not the ones who disrupt it. Humans respond to incentives. That's not evil. That's wiring. If telling the truth gets you punished, sidelined, or socially iced out, your brain logs that data. If bending the truth gets you praise, approval, or money, your brain logs that too. Over time, you unconsciously optimize for survival and reward. This is basic behavioral psychology. Reinforcement shapes behavior. If honesty consistently creates discomfort and dishonesty creates comfort, guess which one becomes the default? Even in small ways. You exaggerate achievements on your CV because everyone does it. You nod along in conversations you don't fully agree with because conflict is exhausting. You stay quiet when someone spreads misinformation because correcting them feels socially risky. And here's the part nobody likes to admit: honesty is expensive. It costs status, it costs relationships, sometimes it costs income. And most people, very understandably, are not volunteering to lose those things just to feel morally pure at 2 a.m. So integrity becomes situational. You're honest when it's safe, you're strategic when it's not. Truly honest people are rare because they're willing to absorb consequences most people quietly avoid. And in a system built on incentives, courage is always going to be less common than comfort. Basically, if the world paid bonuses for brutal transparency, you'd see a lot more authenticity. But it doesn't. So you get performance instead. Number 3, fear of conflict. There's a specific moment that kills honesty. It's that split second where your brain runs the simulation. You're about to say what you really think. Your chest tightens, your mind fast forwards into the future. The other person's face changes. The room gets tense, voices rise, relationship damage, awkward silence, emotional chaos. Abort mission. Conflict feels dangerous because biologically it kind of is. Your body doesn't distinguish much between someone is angry at me and something is chasing me. Heart rate spikes, cortisol rises, muscles tense. Congratulations, you're physiologically preparing for battle over a conversation about where to eat. So what do most people do? They choose peace over truth. Not because they're weak, because their nervous system hates confrontation. Studies show many people would rather endure ongoing dissatisfaction than initiate a potentially uncomfortable conversation. Silence becomes the cheaper option. And over time, that silence compounds. You don't tell your friend they crossed a boundary. You don't tell your partner something bothers you. You don't tell your coworker they're wrong. Each time, you convince yourself it's not a big deal. Until it is. Honesty requires tolerating discomfort, not just for you, but for the other person too. And most of us are wired to reduce discomfort, not increase it. So we sugarcoat, we deflect, we ghost, we say it's fine with Olympic-level acting skills. Truly honest people? They're the ones willing to sit in tension without immediately trying to escape it. They can let the awkward silence breathe. They can handle being temporarily disliked. That's rare. Because most people would rather maintain surface harmony than risk emotional turbulence. In short, honesty isn't just about morals. It's about emotional stamina. And not everyone trained for that marathon. Number 2, identity is fragile. Here's something mildly terrifying. Most people don't protect truth. They protect identity. Your identity is the mental avatar you've built over years. I'm a good person. I'm loyal. I'm smart. I'm open-minded. It's your psychological house. And honesty? Sometimes honesty is a wrecking ball. Because real honesty occasionally says, you were wrong. Or worse, you're not who you think you are. And the brain does not enjoy that sentence. When information threatens your identity, something called cognitive dissonance kicks in. That's the uncomfortable mental itch you feel when reality clashes with self-image. Instead of calmly adjusting the self-image, most people adjust reality. They reinterpret events, they dismiss evidence, they blame external factors, anything to keep the internal story intact. You've seen it, maybe you've done it. Someone gets caught in a contradiction and suddenly performs a mental gymnastics routine that would win gold at the Olympics. The goal isn't truth. The goal is stability. Because identity equals stability, and stability equals safety. So if being fully honest means admitting you hurt someone, misunderstood something, or built your confidence on shaky ground, your brain hits the emergency override. It whispers, this isn't accurate, or they're exaggerating, or that's not the whole story. And just like that, honesty gets diluted. Truly honest people are rare because they're willing to dismantle parts of their identity when necessary. They can say, I was wrong, without feeling like their entire existence is collapsing. That level of psychological flexibility, it's uncommon. Most people would rather defend the house than inspect the cracks. even if the cracks are obvious. Number 1. Radical honesty is lonely. Here's the final twist. Even when someone manages to overcome fear, ego, incentives, politeness conditioning, and self-deception, there's still one last barrier. Loneliness. Radical honesty changes your social landscape. When you consistently say what you mean, set clear boundaries, and refuse to perform socially convenient illusions, something strange happens. The crowd thins. Not dramatically, not in a cinematic way, just subtly. Certain people stop oversharing around you because they know you'll respond with truth instead of validation. Some friendships weaken because they were built on mutual comfort, not mutual clarity. Workplace dynamics shift because you're harder to manipulate. Honest people disrupt illusions, and illusions are social glue. Most relationships survive on shared narratives. We're all happy here. Everything's fine. Nobody has a problem. The person who calmly says, actually, introduces instability, even if they're right. And humans crave belonging more than correctness. Psychologists consistently find that social connection is one of the strongest predictors of well-being. Your brain treats belonging like food, so when honesty threatens belonging, it feels like you're voluntarily skipping meals. That's why brutally honest people often get labeled as intense, too much, or hard to handle. Not because they're cruel, but because they remove the comfortable fog everyone else is breathing. And not everyone wants clearer air. So truly honest people are rare not because honesty is impossible, but because it requires emotional stamina, identity flexibility, conflict tolerance, incentive resistance, and the willingness to sometimes stand alone. That's a heavy psychological bill. Most people don't refuse to pay it because they're bad. They just prefer warmth over precision. And honestly, that preference is very human. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.